Didn't even really want to talk about this, but it's gotten so out of hand, and what's going on with Juan Soto and the Mets, it's ridiculous. There was a New York Post article written by everybody's favorite author, writer, whatever you want to call him, Mike Puma. We all know that Mike Puma is the just front lines of true classic journalism, one of the best out there.
Still a legend.
Still, to you, I hate Mike Puma. Put it out there. Not a fan. He put out an article basically trapping Juan Soto into saying things that people then twisted and misconstrued and made a bigger deal out of. And we wanted to talk about it in an episode on its own because it's so ridiculous and people are just bringing so much light to it that we wanted to go ahead and do a special Media Marvel episode on this entire Juan Soto New York Post article and all the fallout and insanity that's gone on around the New York sports world. I feel like the baseball world doesn't particularly care. I think it's pretty much just the New York market that's running with this stuff. And that's how you know it's so insane. That alone means that it's just ridiculous. But we've got a lot of info. We've got a lot of research. We got a lot of stats to tell you about how fucking stupid this is and how ridiculous it was. I mean, James, we didn't want to have to do this.
No, we tried actively to avoid this because this is something that shouldn't get any credence whatsoever. Credit to Jerry Blevins for pushing it right off on SNY. Credit to Jose Reyes did the same thing. He's been on SNY a lot more recently, where it's like the players are actually like, guys, this is a joke. But of course, we also know from being in the baseball creation space that after the fervor of opening day kind of fades a little bit, now until Memorial Day, it's a little bit damper. It's a little bit harder to get your clicks in the baseball world from April 15th to May 30th. So knowing this, the New York Post, WFAN, all the normal culprits here have done something which is ridiculous, which is try to vilify Juan Soto less than 20 games into his major league career. And I think I want to start with the actual quote that Juan Soto said and the circumstance that actually brought this all on. So again, Mike Puma in the New York Post. The craziest part about all of this was a paywalled article.
Yep.
The public cannot actually read the actual article. And I think that's the funniest thing because there are people running with this thing in every single direction. And I don't think anyone's actually reading the article. So the crux of this whole thing is that Puma asked Juan Soto, felt like it's been different this year, being pitched differently, coming to the Mets from the Yankees. And Juan Soto, who answered probably a bit too honestly, and probably someone who loves baseball so much and is so happy to be able to actually get nitty-gritty a little bit on an answer with a journalist, he told Puma, it's definitely different. I had the best hitter in baseball hitting behind me last year. I was getting more attacked and more pitches in the strike zone, less intentional walks and things like that. I was pitched differently last year. And that is the thing that everybody has gone pure firestorm with. And objectively, like, it's a fine question by Puma. He knows worst case scenario, he gets a baseball answer out of Juan Soto. And best case scenario, he gets this, exactly what's happened. And again, Soto's such a baseball nut that I'm sure he was super happy to answer a question like that. I don't remember when he left the National. I don't remember when Bryce Harper left the Nationals or Anthony Rendon left the year after. I don't remember him getting asked questions about the new guys hitting behind him then. But for some reason, right now, this is the thing. And I know they're getting their clicks, but it's so annoying that that's how it started, and this is where it's gone.
Yeah, and first off, Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball. He said nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong there. Pete Alonso would tell you that. Francisco Lindor will tell you that. Juan Soto told you that. Everybody in the baseball world, except maybe the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani, would say that Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball. This is not a slight at Pete Alonso. This is not a shot as a teammate. This is not him missing or longing for his days of the Yankees, which a lot of people are talking about. It's crazy how Juan Soto can say something truly innocently. I think there was no malice behind it. I think, like you said, he loves talking about baseball. He loves talking about his craft. And that's what he was doing. He was like, oh my God, I get to talk about the thing that I love to do the most. And right now, at least to him, it feels like he's being pitched differently. It feels like the game has been moving a little bit differently for him because Aaron Judge is not hitting behind him. And I think that is super, super warranted to say based on what we've seen. Now, of course, we do know that some of this stuff, Juan Soto's not truly getting pitched that differently than he was last year, but there are different things that are going on. And again, having Aaron Judge behind you, there's going to be a difference than when you have Pete Alonso. It's just objectively true.
Of course, that is because it's an honest sentiment that Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball. It's not groundbreaking news. That's nothing that
anyone... And if you're a Mets fan who thinks that's not the case, that's insane. He's so fucking good.
But there is this prevailing thought with Juan Soto, again, having a not incredible first 18 games, 19 games now as a New York Met, where people are like, wow, just everything last year of the Yankees. He played 6 years in Major League Baseball before Aaron Judge ever hit behind him. And up until that point, he was still one of the greatest hitters to that point in his career, up to 25 years old, ever in the history of the game. So that's kind of the one prevailing thought, that it seems like everyone in the baseball lexicon forgot that this guy got called up as a 19-year-old in 2018, won a championship when he was 20 years old, went on to have a great year, went on to play well for the Padres, then had a great year for the Yankees, signed the biggest contract in American sports history, and is now in the Mets. Secondly, as to some of the context of how differently Juan Soto is being pitched, I think it's worth going into a little bit, because while he is seeing a fewer pitches in the strike zone, for his entire career, he was sitting around 47% pitches in the strike zone, which is slightly below the major league average of 49%. This year so far, it's around 44%. But I also specifically brought up before the Washington Nationals stuff, because the year after Harper left in 2019, and then the year after Rendon left in 2020, that zone rate for Juan Soto fell to 44% again. So it's not that different for situations that Juan Soto has faced in his career, when he had, again, he didn't have Pilanto hitting behind him then, which is amazing protection, or Francisco Lindor hitting in front of him. Those Nationals team got horrible once 2020 struck.
So bad.
And Juan Soto was still amazing. Didn't matter who was behind him or in front of him. So I think this is another reason why that sentiment is faulty. And then the other thing that's been going on, prevailing with this, is about how differently Juan Soto is being pitched relative to where pitches are in the strike zone. I think the heart of the strike zone was mentioned specifically. He's seeing less pitches down the middle. Last season, Juan Soto saw, I have it right here in Baseball Savant, 24.5% of pitches in the heart of the zone. So far this year is 23.1%. So at the end of the day, very similar amount of pitches in the heart of the strike zone last year to this year.
And I'll say this too, to Juan Soto's defense, in terms of like his play, because I know a lot of people are really just looking at the numbers statistically. Like, they're not going to look at zone rates. They're not going to look at shadow, chase, heart. They're not going to look at that kind of stuff. That's where we're the best, because we're finding out that those numbers for you. But if you want, just like from a sheer blanket standpoint, looking at something, Juan Soto has also done stretches like this in his career before, which is also crazy, because this is like his floor. He doesn't really do worse. And last year, even with the Yankees, he had a 40-game stretch to end the season. He went from the middle of August to the end of the season, 40 games, where, I'm going to tell you these numbers, James. Tell me if they sound familiar. He was hitting .230 with a .370 on base, .820 OPS. Does that sound familiar to you?
Sounds a little bit familiar to what's going on right now.
And that was a 40-game stretch at the end of the season, the biggest games of the year, in the biggest moments. Juan Soto was an 800 OPS player over a 40-game stretch. It's been 19 or 20 games with the Mets. The overreactions are absolutely crazy. And this article that Puma wrote, which again, I'll tip the cap to him. Great question. He got Juan Soto. Juan Soto will probably never answer a question from him again, which love to see that, hopefully. But it doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. And I feel like a lot of the people are trying to like blow up these numbers. Oh, he's hitting .230. He's doing this. He's doing that. His first 19 games with the Padres, he hit .175 with a .360 on base, .365 slugging. The next 143 games, .279, .411, .568. His first 19 games was with the Mets, .221, .361, .412. So like, sometimes baseball players don't play the best that they ever do. And his best is still like 30% better than, or his worst is still 30% better than league average, which is crazy.
That's the part that's amazing, is that Juan Soto has elevated his expectations so high between his sky-high play in his career and the contract that he just earned and signed, that again, when he's about 40% better than league average, has more walks and strikeouts, is nearly on a 30-homer pace with a .360 on-base percentage, people are like, wow, this guy's really struggling. He can't live up to the contract. Like, he's not ready for it. Like, did you hear the things I just said? Again, we're barely 10% of the way through the season. He has 3 home runs. Again,
and this is him playing bad.
Yes, this is bad Juan Soto. And on top of that, the team is winning.
Yeah.
The team is, I mean, again, the early season standings don't matter at all. I don't give a fuck about
standings. The Mets are in first
Memorial
place.
Day. I was just saying, the Mets have 1 more game they've lost by a significant margin. And he has walked more than he struck out. He's a .360 on base percentage. And you're starting to feel the effects of all of this stuff happening in the ballpark. We were there on Thursday night when everyone's favorite bald asshole I take it back a little bit, but everyone's favorite bald talking head, who for some reasons like to stir up drama and hurt the team that he claims to like, Salicata, said on WFAN this week, I have the quote right here, saved in my bookmarks, there's no more catering to Juan Soto. It's time to call him out about his comparisons to a season with the Yankees. And then he said 17 games is enough. If the fans at Citi Field are ready to boo him, don't be afraid to boo him. And then last night, In the first inning, Francisco Lindor gets a leadoff single. Juan Soto comes up. He hits a bullet to the shortstop, a one-hopper double play, 107 miles an hour. And there were the echoes, the hints of some boos in Citi Field. And the fear of all this is, and the reason we wanted to address this is because we're letting these people, not like the collective we listening to this podcast, but the full Mets fan, are letting these people who have no idea what they're talking about and no sense of the game of baseball as a whole impact the way you're acting and thinking at the stadium. When he's been a good player this year. He's been fine. But people started booing. I literally looked to a kid who was booing us. I was like, hey, don't boo. There's no reason to boo him right now. He smoked that ball. Like, what are you going to do? It found the glove. This is baseball. It's a hard game. But that's the part that really is starting to enrage me about this whole situation.
AJ, it is time for people to get some new clubs. And to do that, they need to go to their local PXG for a fitting, right?
No doubt. I was there today. I've been there before. Last time I was there, they gave me this killer gap wedge. Look at that sweet spot, Scott. It is worn out. That is right in the sweet spot right there. So I went and got new clubs today, new irons. But more importantly, I got this bad boy. I got me a new putter. This is my old putter. It's on order. Yes, that's my putter cover. PXG Mustang putter. Now I'm going to the Allen putter. They talked me into it because I was draining some putts today. Bob, the guy who helped me out, he helped me with my irons. He got them teed up perfectly. But then we went to the putting green. I was draining them putts because that's the most important part of golf.
PXG fittings are fun. Schedule your fitting today. As you can hear from AJ, for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/foul to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/FOUL. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Yeah, and again, I understand not everybody can listen to the Mets'd podcast. Not everybody takes in good baseball content. Most people, at the end of the day, are going to listen to what's on the radio, what's on TV, because those are the most accessible things for them, because maybe their routine doesn't involve going on YouTube. Maybe it doesn't involve looking on Twitter, finding quality baseball content creators that exist. So when you do have to listen to Baldy, Sal Licata, all 5'2" of him, he gives you bad takes because he's washed. If you look at all the clips and if you look at all his interactions and all his views and all his numbers, he has to be negative on the Mets. When he is positive about the Mets, when he is not saying these ludicrous, idiotic, moronic, and honestly, like, just bottom of the floor, like, intelligence type quotes and takes, no one cares. And that's the unfortunate side of what radio and television has to be right now, is you have to make these bold, horrible, infuriating claims. Otherwise, nobody cares, because you can actually go get good content and quality somewhere else. And Licata, when you look through his clips that are out there, his tweets, if he tweets about that Juan Soto is good, it's going to get like a couple likes, maybe 15, 20 likes, a couple thousand views on Twitter. He tweets out about booing Juan Soto that he's not living up to expectations. It's got over 5,000 likes. It's got 500,000 views. This is a numbers game for this idiot. And for everyone. Yeah, for everyone. Well, except the people that make good content and can still get views on good content, which is, tip the cap to us and everybody else in the baseball world and YouTube and stuff like that. But for him to be saying all these things, it's just, they see it's a numbers game and they see it as a positive. They're like, our numbers are going up, blah, blah, blah. But like in reality, it's like, you're one, making shit content. This is terrible. Who the fuck's watching this? Two, why are you rooting against your own team? How are you telling people to openly boo Juan Soto? That's crazy to me. That's absolutely insane. And to claim you're a Mets fan and you want people to boo Juan Soto, go fuck yourself. You're an idiot. You shouldn't want them to boo anybody. These guys aren't trying hard. If someone is dogging it, that is different. But if someone is not playing at the MVP caliber level, like you said, still 40% than league average, I think you're entitled to be disappointed and be like, I want him to play better. I know I had that take the other day. I do want him to play better. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. But to think that Juan Soto stinks or that he's terrible or deserves boos, is like, what fucking world do you live in?
Or even the concept that he's struggling. Like, he's still playing fine. Some balls are just not finding holes. And you could see that.
I think he is objectively struggling for his...
relative to himself.
Yes, relative to his own success. But like, if this is struggling, holy shit, it's going to be pretty damn good.
It's also funny that this has now taken the mantle from all the Lindor talk, because this was how everything went for him, because these guys need to be negative to generate clicks. That's just how it works. Like, we've developed in American media, I feel like, a fascination with the negativity. Well, I saw an incredible, I gotta tell you this headline I saw the other day. It was in the San Francisco Chronicle, again, for people being obsessed with using negative headlines. So tell me, I'm gonna read this headline, tell me what you think.
Okay.
As San Francisco car break-ins plunge, these businesses are suffering. All over the city, auto glass merchants say they are hobbled by what's otherwise been a staggering sign of progress. We used to get 60 to 80 calls a day to repair people's windows and windshields, said Hank Wee, manager of the In-N-Out Glass. Now we're lucky to get 25. So think about what I just said. So basically, less people's cars are getting broken into, and the headline for the article about it was people who repair auto glass, negative, struggling, horrible. But that's just where we're at. And the other problem that's pissed me off about the Soto situation is that clearly you can see that he's somewhat pressing himself at the plate. You can see the fact that he is expanding strike zone a little bit more than he has the past, swinging and missing a little bit more than he has the past. You're seeing some of these swings he's taking where it seems like he's trying to make everybody love him at one time, where he's swinging out of his fucking shoes at pitches, and he's corkscrewing his entire body around, whipping his hips and going like crazy trying to put the ball over the Coca-Cola sign in the outfield because everyone's kind of hanging out, waiting for that moment. Like, oh, Juan Soto's fine.
Oh, yes. Dude. Everyone around me, we were watching the game last night, and it was like all the phones come out every single time it comes to the plate because everyone's waiting for his first Citi Field home run, and it looks like he knows that everybody's waiting for his first Citi Field home run.
He's waiting for the first Citi Field home run, but it's also like because last year the season did start so hot when he was with the Yankees. Like he went ballistically hot started season, but I think a lot of people conveniently forget that the other feature of this story, Aaron Judge. He started ice cold last season. Yeah. He did go on to have another historic season. Aaron Judge right now is in the midst of one of the greatest runs any right-handed hitter has ever had in history of baseball. Probably any right-handed hitter that didn't take steroids and also played during the integration era. Like that's probably where Aaron Judge is. Like it's really that good for an 1,100 OPS over 3 seasons. Last year through 20 games, his average was in the 200s. I mean, under 200. He had 3 home runs. And his WRC plus, again, bad for Aaron Judge, good for the league, was 120. And it's funny that, Aaron Judge, I mean, the whole premise of the story, the thing that's been run with is that Juan Soto can't hit without Aaron Judge behind him. With Juan Soto ahead of him last year, Aaron Judge struggled for the first month.
He misses the Yankees too, and he's slighting Pete Alonso. Like that's the craziest too. The other thing I'll say about our bald friend Sal Licata, which no disrespect to the bald people out there listening, it's just we
love the bald community. It's just one guy specifically.
I feel like it could get under his skin calling him bald. I don't know why. It just feels like something that might like eat away at him if he were to ever hear this. It's very funny how he acts on WFAN. When he's not talking to former baseball players, when he's not talking to people that are somewhat respected in the baseball community. He gets on SNY and he's with Jose Reyes, a former player, a great player. He's with Andy Martino, which I can't even believe I'm saying this, but Andy Martino had sane takes, which is that this is a ridiculous thing that they're talking about. And Laura Albanese, who's a great baseball writer as well, all of a sudden, Sal Licata's like, aren't you a little concerned? He's not saying, we should be booing this guy. He stinks. He's terrible. He goes like to Jose. He's like, come on, can't he play better? He's like, it's 19 games, man. He's like, he can't hit a home run every single time. He probably wants to. He's like, he's pressing. He'll figure it out. You've watched him play. He's so good. Stop worrying. And even Martino and Laura Albanese were like, yeah, man, like sample size, dude. Come on, man. Like take it easy. And I was like, oh, okay. It's like, wow. It's funny when you're around people that are respected peers, you all of a sudden stop with the nonsense and the tomfoolery.
Yeah, because he is playing an act. He is a character. And that's, again, why you can't really get that mad at him at the end of the day. It's kind of like getting mad at the WWE wrestler. Like, that's just how they are. Like, Roman Reigns doesn't act like that in real life. The Rock isn't that in real life, but that's just what happens in the ring. I almost
guarantee you Licata's going to say that. He's like, I'm a performer. He would say that. I'm a performer.
Oh, of course he would say that, yeah. And also, shout out, giving a lot of shout outs to foreign players. Shout out to Aaron Judge for the way that he's handled this story as well. Because Martino asked him about it point blank, and Judge was like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. He was like, first of all, Pete Alonso's one of the best hitters in baseball. He's standing behind him. Like, there really is no big deal right now. And, like, he's going to be fine. It's also clear that in all these situations, Aaron Judge hates any mention of Juan Soto at all. Of course. It seems like he feels he's the one guy who in that Yankee clubhouse seems like he might be a little slighted, might be a little upset by all this. It was like, we could have just done this again for the next 15 years, but it's just crazy. And then this is the problem. This is how we're going to end this. Is that this all just becomes catnip for Yankee fans because they have no light in their lives anymore. They're one of the worst starting rotations in baseball. They know they're going to go through a whole regular season.
Possibly just got ejected.
Yeah, but shout out Jazz Chisholm for tweeting from the dugout immediately after getting ejected, saying it wasn't fucking close on a pitch that wasn't close. But everyone's other favorite WFAN host, Keith McPherson, who is just somehow WFAN manages to drain a little bit more out of the pool when they transition to the late day reporting from Licata. I mean, Evan's also done a good job of this. He's saying this is ridiculous, but then. Keith McPherson goes, as a Yankee fan, I'm loving it. I hope he continues to struggle because I've had to hear all about what we lost. Do you not think he's good anymore?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the negativity is so rampant. It's so hard to deal with. It's just so shocking that this is what pays the bills these days for these guys.
Yeah. I mean, even going around the league, it's insane what we've seen on some of the radio shows. I know Boomer and Gio talked about he's striking out way more than I expected. That's the most alarming part. It's just straight up untrue. He's not striking out more than you expected. He's actually striking out less than he did last year. It's one of his lowest K rates for his career right now. So he's actually striking out less than he has, less than you expected. You couldn't have expected he was going to strike out less than he is right now. That's basically the entire take there. There's a lot of people who don't watch baseball. There's a lot of people who don't know about baseball. There are a lot of people who truly are casual baseball fans, and that's okay. We love casual baseball fans. You should casually watch baseball if you're not able to be sickos like me and James, or probably the people listening to this podcast. There's nothing wrong with that. But having the platform and then using that poorly, like saying he's striking out more, I'm concerned about his play. There's really nothing concerning outside the fact that he's just not getting hits. He's playing worse than he has, but I'm not concerned. I don't think there's any level of concern as me as a Mets fan whatsoever.
No, absolutely. That is why we wanted to wait a couple of days to record this, kind of try and let some dust settle, see him get a game into the field, see if this was actually having an influence on this, because sadly it is. That is why I wanted to, reference it, talk about it, because this should be a non-story. This should never even been anything that happened. And the funniest thing about this too is this story actually broke on Monday evening.
Yeah.
The story broke 12 minutes after he hit that home run against the Twins. Like we were sitting watching the game, and we saw it on Twitter. Like, whoa, oh my God, you're seeing this? Everyone's quote tweeting it. All the Yankee fans are running with it, because I think this is more of a story for Yankee fans than Met fans.
1,000,000%. I think again, like you said, there were some boos last night for Soto. I think that is the vocal minority at the game. I also think it's crazy too. I'm gonna shout out Frank the Tank. He hasn't even been negative about Soto in that light. So like, we know something's wrong when all of a sudden everybody except the most negative Mets fan in the world is going crazy about this kind of stuff. It's a very, very vocal minority that's doing the booing. And you can't stop idiots from being stupid. Like, that's just kind of how it is. But it's all being overblown so much.
And again, the thing I want to come back to, how we're going to end this, is that Mets fans, we at this time of recording on Friday are 12-7 without meaningful contributions up to his level from Juan Soto, with a plus 23 run differential.
And for people listening, for Juan Soto stinking, he sucks. He's been terrible, right? Let's just say that's the take that we're having, right? He's been terrible. Mets are 12-7.
And that's what we could pull away from this. The fact that this team is good and good enough to pick up all of the huge air quotes here, the most exaggerated air quotes you'll ever do, slack around Juan Soto right now, not hitting well, especially while missing 2 players of their starting 9, 2 pitchers in their projected opening day rotation, and Edwin Diaz having an ERA, 6, 5.5 still?
Looking crazy, yeah.
And Francisco Lindor not hitting, and Brandon Nimmo not hitting. This team is still 12-7, 6-1 at home. This is there's a good thing being built here, and the only reason that this is where they're able to go with this is because other things are going so well. And that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not fun for the Mets to be good and not have any issues going around. If you look around Major League Baseball, Juan Soto, again, we want him to drive in runs, of course. His RBIs are low right now, but he is top 20 in runs scored. Fantastic. Love to see that. That's really good to see, especially for a guy who's, again, he's struggling, right? That's what all the people are saying. He's not contributing to this team. He's not getting on base or scoring any runs. The last thing I'll say, too, is about the bat speed thing that I've seen a lot of people bring up as well, that Juan Soto's bat speed is down this year. It is. So is Aaron Judge's technically. So are a bunch of players around the league's bat speed's down. Juan Soto still has a significantly better bat speed than league average. So that's not something to worry about. The thing that I noticed in my research, I wrote down his average bat speed per count on swings. When he has no strikes in the count and he's either ahead, like 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. Well, 3-0 he doesn't swing, but 2-0, 76 miles an hour. 1-0, 75 miles an hour. 0-0, 74 miles an hour. All right around where he was last year. Where his bat speed has dropped has been in 2 strike counts this year. 1-2, 2-2, 3-2. It's in the lower 70s and sometimes in the 60s. But when you compare that to how many 2 strike counts and how many competitive 2 strike swings he had last year compared to this year in the same sample size, they are significantly more. So he's just getting a little bit more into 2 strike counts right now and forcing himself to swing because he doesn't want to strike out, because he knows getting on base is so valuable for Pete Alonso. The swing speed stuff is so overblown. It's crazy. It's a really easy take for people to have because you can see it on Baseball Savant and say, oh, the swing speed's down. What's going on with Juan Soto? The deeper you dive into it, the swing speed's completely fine. He's just trying to strike out less, and he's had more 2-strike swings.
You guys know it's really serious when Mark is actually doing nitty-gritty research, saying numbers on a podcast. That's how you know this is really worthwhile talking about. And I guess something else that we just have to mention that we've talked about a little bit in the offseason is like there's always going to be a bit of a period to get comfortable for Juan Soto. Yes. He just signed the biggest contract in American professional sports history.
Dude, sports history.
I mean, I thought Ronaldo's was.
Ronaldo had with sponsorships, it was more, but straight up contract, not more.
So it is a lot of pressure for any human to deal with. And then when all of that's going on at the same time, while you're not playing your best, while reporters are trying to get you with gotcha questions, while your home fans are slightly booing you a teeny bitty tiny bit, like it's just a lot to deal with. And like it's human to have some struggles when a situation like this is going on. I really think that's okay, and that in 3 months, we're not even going to remember this happened.
This is the last we're going to talk about it. You're not going to hear us talk about this again because Juan Soto is obviously going to turn around. I'm going to say on Friday night he hits a home run at Citi Field as well. So just put that out there in the universe, and things are going to be great because Juan Soto is fucking really good. He's such a good baseball player.
Juan Soto is so good that when he's bad, he's amazing.
Yeah, no, when he's bad, he is still one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. So that's where you can take some solace there. That's where you can take a deep breath and everyone stop freaking out so much about this. It's a non-story.
And Citi Field's the best. Citi Field was rocking Thursday.
Oh, it was
rocking
awesome.
Again Friday. I love being at that ballpark so much.
And the Mets do too.
Yeah, a lot. They're 21-5 in their last 26 games at Citi Field. So we got a lot of good things going for us right now. So let's keep it rolling.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling. And that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the Mets'd podcast over on YouTube. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow us on all our social media at Mets'd, METSDUP. You can follow James on social media.
James Shiano.
And I'm Draft Nick Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening and watching. We will catch you all after the Cardinal series. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.